Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters, dear friends. Jazakallah here for tuning in to the Wahda podcast. If you haven't already followed us on Instagram and Twitter, please do so at team_Wahda, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to the Wahda podcast. Today we have the same lineup with our new guest, Abdul Latif.
Assalamu
And today we'll be discussing a very important topic, which is prayer, how to find consistency, motivation, how to deal with getting up for Fajr. So we'll go straight in and ask you, Hashim, how did you start getting into your 5 daily prayers? How did you find regularity in your prayers?
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Basically, the way I got to pray 5 times a day was, first of all, I was at a stage in my life where I didn't know what to do with life, and I was a bit insecure and not very knowledgeable about Islam, and I wasn't interested in praying as sometimes people go through. And the way I got back to praying 5 times a day was I needed to change my life around, and I thought by changing the way, just becoming a good person was just going to cut it, and that's what was going to get me. But it wasn't. It was still the same. And I thought to myself, I was like, you just have to, what you need now is you need Allah. I need to put your trust in Allah. So I got to a stage where I started praying 5 times a day, and then I started to read books, Islamic books, and watch videos, and I had good people around me. Thing is, all the people that I was hanging out around with before, secondary school wise, and just random other people I know, I cut them out of my life because I thought to myself, I said, these people that you're going around with, they're not going to get you into Jannah, and they're not doing the best for you. So what I tried to do is I tried to be with good people, and alhamdulillah I found Kamil and Yusuf, and they were very, very good-hearted, kind brothers, and we always used to pray Zuhr in the 6th form, and we got a prayer room, and then we started to pray Jummah prayers on Friday with some younger brothers. And it was a motivation, because I thought to myself, I said, you're helping all these young brothers and you're praying yourself, why not just keep maintaining it? Why just make this something of your life? Yeah. And then I started to watch Islamic videos, and I started to learn more about Islam and started to read the Quran more, and then it appealed to me. And then since you put your trust in Allah, I just saw so many drastic changes that it was unbelievable.
Would you say with prayer, was there a stage in your life before where you were like praying regularly, or was it from nothing to like 0 to 100, if that makes sense? Because one thing I've noticed is, especially with people around our age, is they'll go into secondary school, and like obviously their parents have conditioned them in a certain way that you have to pray 5 times a day and stuff, you know what I mean? And then you get to a certain age where you're given a bit more freedom, and then I think that slowly kind of goes away. Is that the case with you, or for you?
Now with me is sometimes I used to pray 5 times a day.
Not consistently.
Not consistently. I didn't used to pray consistently, because when you're at like a young age, sometimes you're just not interested, and your mind takes over the fact that you need Allah. Sometimes you have questions about Islam that you don't get, and you don't like, it doesn't sit right with you. And when something doesn't sit right, it's very hard to see the light at the tunnel.
Yeah.
But I thought thing is, by the fact that me going through all these things that I've been through, that helped me, because that made me realize that Allah is still with me. He still wants me to go to Jannah, and He's still always helping me. And I thought to myself, I said, listen, this is you can't mess around anymore. You can't start skipping salah. This is something you have to make part of your life. And alhamdulillah, now this salah is something I make part of my life. I will never ever go a day without not scheduling my life without salah. I will always put every single five times a day prayers into my life, into my calendar.
That's the truth, because one thing I learned was, when you with salah, I think we live in a society and like a time where you have your life, and salah is like, it revolves around everything else.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So if you were to like live your life as like a mind map, if that makes sense, salah would be like the branches coming out of the mind map. But in actual fact, it should be the center of the mind map. Everything else, like whether it be football, whether it be school, whatever it is, that should revolve around your salah.
Yeah.
So, I can't do a certain thing at this time, I'll do a bit later because I have to pray Maghrib. I have to do this, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't wake up at 9 o'clock on the holidays because Fajr is at 7 o'clock on the, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And I think that's the thing, when we live in such like a fast-paced time where we have so much going on, but like you have to understand that salah is like, salah is like the most important thing. Like if you don't pray, then it's a bit, you know what I mean? But,
100% agree. Yeah, 100% agree with you. I think that many people today, they just see salah as, oh yeah, you can just pray salah. But this is,
It is quite
I think this is
understated in
true.
society.
This is what I feel is true. I feel like when people are sick, when people are ill, when people are going through financial troubles, and when people are going through tough times in life, that's when they turn to Allah.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They'll pray because they want Allah to help them with this sort of thing. But when they're normal people and your life is just okay, they don't turn to Allah.
For me, that's when you should pray even more, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think for me, turning to Allah in times of difficulty, yes, that's regular, you know what I mean? People do that. For me, the important thing is to actually turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're in times of greatness. And
shows you're grateful.
Exactly, it shows you're grateful, bro, because you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take anything away. So the fact you're praying at that time rather than when you're at your lowest point is more profound.
Yeah.
Because it shows you're actually grateful for what you have. You know what I mean? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never like turn away from you. And it shows, it kind of keeps you grounded, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It keeps you humble because it shows you like no matter where you are, like in your life and your status in society, that you do realize that I'm only here because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know what I mean? And I think once you lose your salah, you kind of lose that connection with Allah as well. You get me?
Yeah. I think that with what, like I was saying about when you pray in times of difficulty and when it's not in times of difficulty, you don't pray. This, like Garmin said, is so essential that when you're not in a time of difficulty, you pray, because you should be thanking Allah for every single second. The fact that you're breathing right now, the fact that you're healthy, the fact you've got family, and the fact that nothing bad is happening to you at that very moment in time. And I feel like that's where you've got to thank Allah. That's where you've got to pray even more and just be grateful and just make it a part of your life. That's what I had to do. I think with salah, either you do not pray or you do pray, because it's like other things. Either you're in or you're out. You've got to be fully committed to it. You have to, like, it's compulsory. People stray away from that. People think, oh yeah, brother, I can just pray salah and just, yeah, it's compulsory.
Yeah.
You're meant to pray. Just like you're meant to fast in the month of Ramadan, that's compulsory. That's what you have to realize. You have to realize this is what you're meant to do. This is something which is so key in your life that you have to. And I feel like you have to make it a way of your life. And if you do not make it a way of your life, then it's very difficult to find goodness into yourself, peace into yourself, and just having yourself as a...
Thing is, we must understand that...
What's the purpose of life?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of life?
What is the purpose of life?
Yeah.
To serve, innit?
To worship Allah.
To worship Allah. Life is a test.
That's it. It's a test. It's about patience.
Yeah. Salah gives you patience, man.
Gives you a lot of things.
Gives you a lot of things.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
Discipline.
Honestly,
And
but I think we must...
Jannah as well.
Jannah, inshallah, man.
Inshallah.
But I think we need to understand that, like, we can't really... With salah especially, it's something that you can't compare apples and oranges, if that makes sense. Like, you can't compare one person whose family... Because the thing is, essentially, speaking from experience, bro, like, I'm from... Like, when I wasn't praying, you get me, like, it's tough to just start praying, like, regularly. It's not easy. Like, if you're not praying and when you have a habit and a bad habit, it's so hard to take away. You get me? Like, it's like smoking. If you smoke, the first few weeks and that, like the first week or whatever it is, you'll be completely on it, and you're trying not to stray away from it. Then slowly you fall off. And I think Salah's the same, because I think when you pray, for us, alhamdulillah, we pray 5 times a day now, but when when you think about it, how long does it take us to pray? Well, what's the longest salah in the day? Isha, probably. How long does it take us to approximately pray Isha?
5, 6
5 minutes just to read the fard or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah? About 15 minutes to pray all of the rakah, sunnah, witr, everything, yeah? Now, for someone who doesn't pray regularly, 15 to 20 minutes, or 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, that seems quite long. Although in 24 hours, if you count it
Like
up...
40 minutes a day.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
like 14
It
minutes.
doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't affect your schedule.
It doesn't affect your schedule, but for someone who doesn't pray regularly, that might seem like a long time.
Yeah.
That you're completely focused in silence praying for that amount of time. Now, it's not a long time, like in hindsight, but for someone like that, it is. And for me, before it was. And I think one way to like slowly get into the habit of praying regularly 5 times a day, I think, is just start praying with the fard.
Do the minimum.
Just do the minimum. Do the minimum and then work your way up to the maximum.
Yeah.
You know?
Takes 2 to like 5 minutes.
Exactly. Just
Half an hour
pray.
a day, 5 prayers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
5 prayers, that's it. Sorted. You get me?
Yeah, like Kamil was saying about smoking, and how you were saying when you smoke for a week, it goes for a long period. I feel like that's with Salah, especially in my perspective. When you pray for a month, and then then it's you're maybe around with family, or you're not at home, or you're not at the mosque, or you're with other people. For me, it constantly comes into my mind. You pray, hurry up, pray. Go do wudu now. Go get a small space.
You think there's something missing? There's something missing.
Yeah, from your day.
Yeah,
good day.
100%.
Yeah. It's like a cigarette. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You're gonna be like an addict.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's like
So
there's like a feeling you get like a bit of
it's like
adrenaline rush.
nicotine.
Yeah,
When nicotine gets in your blood.
make it an addiction.
Yeah,
Not all
addiction.
addictions are bad,
Yeah.
innit? Yeah, man. That's the thing with Salah. I think with Salah, anyways, you kind of, when you're when you start trying to pray regularly, you have to be careful not to make excuses.
Yeah, like some people who do like bad things, for example, zina or smoke.
We all
weed.
sin, bro. We all
yeah,
sin,
we
you
all
know?
sin. Yeah, but some people will say, "All right, I'm smoking weed, I'm drinking alcohol.
I can't pray.
I can't pray. What's the point of praying?
Yeah.
I don't get ajr for the praying. It doesn't matter, man. The hadith of Muhammad Sallallahu says, yeah, you can't pray like for 40 days. Okay, that's good.
Oh, it's not valid for 40 days.
it's not, you don't get ajr for 40 days, but
Yeah.
you're meant to be.
You still should pray. Like you shouldn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not about the ajr, it's about your salah.
Yeah.
This is fard.
You get sin if you don't pray.
Yeah.
exactly.
You get sin, yeah. This is the second pillar, yeah, the second pillar
Subhanallah.
of the 5 pillars of Islam. So if one, like for example, yeah, you got a house, yeah, you got 5 pillars in the house. If one pillar goes down, what happened to the,
The
house?
house is weaker now.
What will happen to it? Or let's say you don't fast or you don't pray, what will happen to the house?
It falls, man.
It falls. This is Islam. This is basically Islam.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's the thing, like prayer, like Salah, like if you're looking like, for example, Ramadan time, like for me, like from before, like I'd fast, but I wouldn't pray. You get me? Now, alhamdulillah, I do, but like 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't praying in Ramadan. And, like you're basically starving yourself, because what's the point?
Yeah,
what's the point? You're supposed to pray, man. Like, what's the point? You're not. It's not true. Like, you're not gaining anything out of it. You're actually like you're fasting. You're starving yourself, because it's not valid if you don't pray. You know what I mean?
I got a question for Yusuf. Basically, how would you advise a brother? How would you advise a brother who is not praying and is insecure about deen? He's not sure about what to do in life. How would you approach him to start praying again?
For me, I would start with why aren't you praying? For me, I wasn't praying because I was facing distractions, you know, movies, TV shows. Or I'll pray in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll pray 10 minutes later, and the prayer time is gone. So you have to look at why you're not praying, and then try and make prayer a priority.
Yeah.
Thing is, from my experience, yeah, there's a saying: you can take a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. So I can guide you all I want. I can tell you, brother, listen, I can take you to the masjid, brother, I can give you all these Islamic books. But that necessarily won't mean that brother will have the same energy as me.
Exactly.
So you have to realize that you can only do so much. You can only help someone so much. It's just up to them. And that's why I feel like you have to make sure you're giving the right information,
Yeah.
the most best
At
information.
the end of the
that
day,
guy
it's their
can give.
choice what they do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, alhamdulillah, like when I became like more practicing, alhamdulillah, I was trying to like get everyone with me. If that makes sense, because you should be doing it, of course. But thing is, when you're telling people, come pray, bro, yeah. From experience, they're only gonna come pray with you to get them off your back. And I think for me, I've come to a conclusion where don't really go saying you have to pray, come pray. For me, because this happened with me, bro. They'll fall in love with Salah, they'll fall in love with themselves. Because that would be more powerful than me telling them to come pray. If I tell them to come pray, they'll come for 1-2 days, then halas, they won't come again.
Yeah.
You get me? If they learn themselves and they hear the adhan themselves, they see them brothers praying themselves, then they'll fall in love with it, and then they'll come themselves, and then that will be more sustained. You know what I mean? So for me, it sounds selfish, but sometimes you have to be. Focus on yourself, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before
but yeah,
everyone
so
else.
trying to change the heart rather than the actions,
Exactly.
which is
Because sometimes you act without referring to your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you said about how it has to come internally. That's exactly the same way it come from me. I didn't have no one telling me.
Yeah, same.
Obviously, your family around telling you, come pray.
It
come
kind of
pray."
came to.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't click at the same time.
Because it just comes regular. That every time they're like, pray.
Yeah, like getting forced to
Yeah.
pray. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to come. It has to come
You
internally.
need to believe in it.
Because then
You
what
need to know
are you
what
praying
you're
for?
doing. Yeah, why?
What are you praying? It's like with Quran, like you go like a lot of little kids, like for me when I was younger, I was going to like reading Quran, like madrasa and stuff, and I was like, what am I reading? What am I doing here? Like, I'm being told to come here, but what am I actually learning?
Yeah.
Same with Salah. If you're being told by your parents, go time to pray now, Isha time, Maghrib time, and you're praying, and you never actually know why you're praying. Like, are you just doing random actions? Like, what is it? Do you know what I mean? You have to kind of embrace it yourself.
Yeah.
That's how you become committed.
Yeah, some families like force their kids to pray, yeah, and they get used to it. That's it. But they don't know who are they praying for.
Yeah.
Some people are like this.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
We
I
are
know quite a
praying
few
for-
brothers like that.
Yeah.
They've mashallah, it's a good habit to have actually, that you're still praying, but if you don't know what you're praying for,
You don't know what's going
that's
on.
the thing. Like, thing is, if you're praying, then you can kind of like get to that
Yeah.
knowledge in the future.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Like, if your whole life you've been praying, but you don't actually know what you're praying. Because I was speaking to an imam once, shout out Imam Yahya, by the way. I was speaking to him about Salah, and he said to me that there was an old man who came into the masjid, and he knows him, he recognizes his face, and he's someone who prays like regularly in congregation. He's always at the front row, and he came to him and he said, "I need you to teach me how to like what to say when I pray Salah." And he's like an old man, like quite an old man. And his whole life, mashallah, he's been praying 5 times a day regularly, but he didn't actually know what he was saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the important thing to understand, that like yes, you get rewarded for praying, but understand what you're praying for.
and what you're saying in your prayer.
Exactly, what you're saying in your prayer, why are you praying, what do you get out of it, that sort of thing, man.
You take your steps in it. So
Exactly, it's a long journey, man.
First, get the prayer established as a habit,
That's it,
and then you go on to
100%.
finding the meanings, finding peace in prayer. That will come later. That won't
Yeah.
come straight away. So don't
No, it will
expect-
never come straight away.
It's a long journey.
Very long journey, man. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Thing is with prayer is you have to make sure that, obviously, like Amr was saying about knowing what you're understanding. That for me is key. Is the fundamental. Knowing what you are saying and when you're praying is key, because you are knowing that you're worshiping your Lord. Yeah, and the things that you are saying is accounting for that. And when you go outside on the street, I say to a lot of brothers, yeah, when you go outside on the street, yeah, represent yourself as a good person, because you have to listen to this, yeah, that people that are not fond of Islam, they don't like Islam, and they're ignorant people. They will not read the Quran, they will not look at hadith, and they will not look at exam history. They will look at actually how the person is himself. That's why with all these people who are carrying out attacks and all these things, it's all got to do with how the actual person is. It's not nothing got to do with Islam. I look at the UFC fighter Khabib, how he always makes sure that what he's doing, he's always humble and he's always been a good person. That's what people look at.
Where'd you get that from? Salah, innit?
Exactly, you get that from praying to Allah. That's why it brings you peace to your life, and it sustains that, and that's why I feel like it's key. If you're not like the other a very small sector of Muslims that follow Islam in the wrong way, it's all down to what they take in, and that's where it goes back to what Carmen said, making sure that you take in the right information, making sure that you know what you're saying, because when you know what you're saying, you know the meaning of it.
I think you have to be careful when you look at these, mashallah, they're amazing people who you're looking at, who are role models for Muslims nowadays. But I think you need to understand that when you see them praying, mashallah, they're praying, but you have to understand that there's difficulties as well. Like, it's not easy, you know what I mean? Like, the journey, like, what would you say, like, for you, man? Like, what was the biggest difficulty? Did you actually have any difficulties, like, trying to pray? Like, what would you say was...
You obviously, when you pray for the first time, when you don't pray, there's difficulties. You think to yourself, like,
this is long, innit?
This is long, man, and this is not... The thing is with me, when I developed praying, I was so fixed on praying, because I thought to myself, I go, listen, you need Allah, and if you don't need Allah, you're finished out here.
So did you kind of like condition yourself to a certain, like it is in the gym, like when you do your conditioning and stuff, like did you kind of do the same thing?
Yeah, it's a like you said, it's a process.
Yeah,
I guarantee there will not be people who are not praying for a couple of years. They won't suddenly start praying. They won't suddenly become imams and all these stuff. It's a process. You have to think to yourself, first we pray. Take each step day by day.
You don't just wake up and the next day.
You take each step day by day, and that's what I give advice to these young to the brothers that don't take every single day by day. Every single day is a new day. Start fresh. If you missed Isha, on a yesterday, pray Isha the next day. Because then you will reap the habit. Don't think, oh yeah, I haven't prayed, man. Oh yeah, this end for me. I'm done out here. No, tomorrow is a new day. Let's just perfect that. So that's what I feel like.
I think I don't know about you guys, but like the value. I feel like the value of Salah and like the virtue of Salah it's not as understood in like today's society.
Yeah.
Because if you like look at the hadith and stuff like that, they say if one knew the value of Salah, they'd crawl.
Yeah, exactly.
Towards Salah. It's like with when you go to like the khutbah or something, the Jummah, like and you pray in the first stuff, the first line.
Yeah.
If you pray in the first,
more.
Yeah, the amount of blessings you get, but it's like I think that's the thing. But when you're someone who's new to this, to praying, new to this whole idea of like. Essentially, it's meditation, isn't it? I mean, you're finding peace, you're finding this sort of thing. But if you're always in like a noise and fast-paced thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
then
right.
it's like a change of environment, right? You're kind of trying to adapt to this environment. If you're always like in an environment of like music, shouting, screaming, whatever it is, and then you go to a completely quiet environment, that can sometimes affect you as well. Do you know what I mean? Because whether you enjoy it, whether you don't, some people. If you're like a party animal, for example, you're not gonna. The first time you pray is not gonna be like easy for you, is it? If you're just completely like there's like a void of sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you're used to eating junk food, you won't appreciate healthy food, isn't it?
Exactly, 100%.
You won't enjoy it.
There you go. You have to learn to kind of like
to cut out the junk food and
there you
start
go.
eating.
100%.
What you put into your mind and what you put into your body is so essential.
Yeah.
Because if you put good thing into your mind, if you're around good people, that will put goodness onto your mind and that will reflect your actions. If I'm out here, say for example, I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm not smoking, but I'm going with other people who are, you're going to be around that society and then you're going to think to yourself like, that's just how you are, and you're thinking that as accepting.
Yes.
And that's
eventually your company takes a toll on you.
Yeah, that's gonna have a toll on you. If you're constantly praying and you look at that as something which is so necessary for you, like I say Salah is so key, because when I started praying, I started to realize so many changes that you see to yourself that you've never seen before. It gives you, it gives you this complete
confidence.
Exactly, it gives you like this. I don't want to say like tablet or medicine, but it gives you something complete that you need, and that's what I think that is the key. And obviously, Yusuf, how did you find anything difficult when you were praying? Because, like I was saying,
Yeah, I think a big thing for me, obviously, and a lot of people as well, is distractions.
Yeah, distractions.
Social media,
nowadays,
video
yeah.
games, movies, TV shows.
Notifications, man.
And it's like, oh, I'll pray in 10 minutes time.
Yeah.
10 minutes goes. I'll pray in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes, and then the prayer's gone.
And then the prayer's gone, yeah.
So for me, I had to cut out all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and it helped me a lot.
Even if you don't cut it out, just like reshuffle. Like reshuffle your
have
day.
priorities.
Have priorities,
Pray
yeah.
first. And
Pray first, then you can enjoy as long as you want. Yeah, if that makes sense.
exactly. That's especially to any of the brothers. If you're, for example, if you're not going through bad things, but you're not praying, like I said, just get it out of the way. Just pray, because it will. I'm telling you, it will do wonders.
Yeah, it's not like it's not the greatest mentality to have. I'm just gonna get it out of the way.
Yeah.
But for someone who hasn't been praying before, that's kind of like how I guess to start. Like be the way to do it. If that makes sense, because like salah is it's a blessing, you know. Like it is a blessing we are privileged to be praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what I mean? But for someone who wasn't really doing this before, try and just like we pray the minimum, get it out of the way. Slowly and slowly, it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll kind of be like, I kind of want to do this more, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna spend more time praying, because you know, like even when you read tasbih, like you just want to get it done. You read it quickly. You know what I mean? When you pray your surah and like salah, you read it quickly, right? I mean, like at the start, that's how. Just get it done. Get it the way. Exactly. Then slowly, like trust me, you slowly understand the virtue of salah, and then you enjoy it more. And then there'll come to a time where like you're missing something in your life, where you're like, I didn't pray today, and it like hurts your mind. Because salah, like you were talking about like medicine earlier, like salah is the medicine for your soul.
100%.
You get me?
Like I said, if you're not praying and you don't have that mindset, as I said, once you start praying and once you start, as I said before, getting out of the way, you'll start to, as I said, get into that habit of when you keep praying. Yeah, you'll start getting to habit, then you won't want to miss it.
Yeah.
And that will instantly impact your mind. And I'm telling you, it will. Because when you're doing something which is good for you and good for your soul, yeah, then you will not want to miss it. Yeah. It's like I references to when it's Ramadan. When it's Sehri time, yeah, and you don't wake up, and then you wake up the next day in the morning, you're like, why didn't I get up fast? You get that. I'm telling you will get that. I've got that so many times when I was younger, where I didn't get up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go downstairs and eat. And then when you wake up the next morning, it plays with your mind. And
yeah, I think that leads us on well to something. I think for me is the toughest salah. Although it's the shortest, it's the toughest, and that's Fajr. I just wanted to get you guys' like opinions. Like, how do you get up for Fajr? Like, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, I just get up for Fajr, do my alarm. Like at the start, how was it for you guys? Like,
some people can't.
Yeah.
Can't get up in the morning to pray. And some people can, because some people get up without an alarm. They're used to it.
They're used to it, yeah.
They're used to it. So now, like my dad, yeah, doesn't have an alarm. Just used to it.
Same my grandma as well.
Yeah.
They just look outside.
That's the best thing to happen.
It's great, man. That's so beautiful. How do you get it? Like, that just shows your iman, innit?
Yeah.
It's mad, bro. I swear you said to me once, man, what was it? Like, you can be like the heaviest lifter, but you can't wake
That's
up.
what I said.
What was it?
You could go to the gym and lift weights, but you can't lift your bank up for Fajr.
Yeah. That's so true.
It's so true.
It's mad.
That's what people.
True.
That shows your true strength, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But like I was saying, like even the older people, like his dad, my grandma, they don't have alarms. They don't have phones to wake them up. They just look outside. They know instantly. Yeah, it's Fajr time. You know what I mean? You should think to yourself, like, if these people who don't need phones and don't need this can be able to do that, then you should always do it as well.
Use that as a motivation.
Yeah, use that as motivation.
Best believe people, like if you look at some of the greatest sheikhs and alims of like Islam, like in Islam, bro, like they all had a starting point. You know what I mean? They weren't born like they weren't born and they were holding Quran in their hand, were they? Like it wasn't like that. They weren't sheikhs from early. They weren't
all born Muslims.
No, but they weren't, because
they had to
But we don't have to talk about Sahaba. That's another. They're another level, bro.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about Sahaba, man.
Yeah.
They're on another level. But like, anyways, like everyone has a starting point.
I meant like it's that like
No, I know what you mean.
Process.
Yeah, process. Yeah.
So you can go from nothing, but once you start to do those necessary things,
Yeah.
then
And when you see people around you who are like, mashallah, your father and like your grandmother, who are praying like that, like they don't even need an alarm, they don't need to tell anyone to tell them like what time Fajr is, like they'll already be there, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's quite good for motivation, if that makes sense, because it's like it's tangible. You can see it in front of you that this is what people get. You know what I mean? That like, that they're literally waking up without anyone helping, nothing. They just go out, pray. Like that's where, inshallah, may Allah please like all get us to that situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I just use mainly two things. Sleep early, that's essential. And then two is like you have your alarm far from your bed, so maybe outside your room.
Oh yeah.
So when you get up,
You have to get up. You're already up.
You have to get up to turn it off.
Yeah.
That usually works for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I tried that actually. It helps. It helps me. That's quite a good tactic, I must say.
now with when you obviously when you get married and you have your wife there and you have your husband there, you know what I mean. That goes hand in hand as well. Because you get my mom. I've referenced my mom always wakes up my dad. Sometimes my dad wakes up. That's I like that. That goes hand in hand. You both.
You're kind of helping each other.
Striving each other to read.
Yeah.
So it's so good. I like that.
Um,
But I think that my advice for someone who's not praying or even praying, but they're just inconsistently, just keep at it. Just always think to yourself, why have I done this before? That's what I always reference.
Wow.
When you're going for a sprint or you're going for a race and you failed one time and you want to strive and you do want to do it again, you have to look at that as well. You have to look about, why did I do in this first place? I want to do this because I want to achieve peace. I want to achieve good. I want to be successful. I want to go to Jannah. That's what you have to think to yourself. When you're in that bad place, remember, it's only temporary. Allah will not give you a test that you cannot cope with. So when you're in that position, just make sure, why have I done this before? Just got to keep that. You got to keep that mindset. It's very hard. Some people I look at, they've accomplished everything, and then it just decreases.
But that's the reason why if you look at we live in a society today where if you look at the news, there's been celebrities who pass away, they commit suicide and stuff. Why? Because their whole life they're soul searching. They don't know, like their whole life they've got all this abundance and wealth, tangible wealth, money, cars, houses, whatever it is.
But there's a hole in their soul.
There's a hole in their soul.
Yeah.
They haven't got content. They're not content.
Yeah.
They're looking for contentness. They're looking for peace.
Yeah.
I reference that to social media.
Yeah.
People pleasers.
Like we talked about this last time, but anyways, their whole life they're looking for something, and then they can't find it, and then what do they turn to? Drugs, alcohol, zina, and that sort of stuff. But with us, like alhamdulillah, we have it under our nose, and it's salah. I promise you, that fills the gap. It fills the void that in your heart that you're looking to find. Like you don't find this satisfaction, you don't find this content in anything else. And though with salah, it's not something that, I'll be honest with you, a lot of the time you don't actually see the benefits like firsthand. You see the benefits as you go along. Like for me, when I started praying, I didn't see like the whole benefits, but gradually as I became more practicing,
Yeah, you don't feel the peace straight
you
away.
don't feel peace straight away. Of course,
It takes like time.
it's like some medicines. When you take a tablet or something or whatever it is, you don't, as soon as if you got a headache and you take a paracetamol, you don't just stop getting the headache as soon. It takes time, right? Like when you pray, like for me, when I was praying, it took me like a good few months before I started seeing the benefits. Like I was more happy. Like I was more, you know what I mean? I was enjoying life more. I was getting more.
Well.
Yeah, I was enjoying my prayer. I was like, I don't want to pray fast. And I was going to the masjid more. I was like, you know what I mean? You just become a better person, and you don't see that. That's why you don't see it immediately. But that's the thing with salah. Like, it's something that you get so much out of in the future, in the akhirah. And that's why certain people fall off, and that's why certain people, like these celebrities who do commit suicide, unfortunately, because they don't understand that when your whole life you've been gaining things immediately, and this sense of short-termism where you get the money up front, you get this up front, that up front, you don't ever have that sense of what am I going to get in the future and what am I going to get after. You get me? When you got that lack of iman, as Muslims, we believe that life is a test, life is a deception. We're all being tested for a reason, and what we get out of this dunya is be magnified completely in the akhirah. You know what I mean? And when you haven't got that sense of salah, then you start thinking, where am I going to go afterwards? Like, what am I looking for? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Salah is like, same as like, for example, yeah, why do you revise for your exams?
To get good results.
So you can pass and get into uni. After uni, get a job. Same as the salah. Salah is basically a test. It's basically an exam. If you pass it, you go to Jannah.
Yeah.
If you don't pass like the exams, you're gonna fail.
Well, even if it's the same.
You're gonna face the consequences. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. So why do you care about like your exams? Why do you care about your grades? Why do you care about your GCSEs and A levels and like undergraduate? Why don't you care about salah?
Yeah. Salah is That's a true qualification.
What's the purpose? What's the purpose of life? It's basically like the test. Life is all of it. It's a test. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to pass this test.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to have like some patience. So basically, salah is the key. As Hashim said, like it's a key, man. Like if you don't pray, like you're missing a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
You don't get. Like,
think about it like this: Salah is the key to the big mansion in Jannah.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And the beauty in your grave, you'll have your grades, your money, your video games, your movies in your grave with you. You'll have your prayer, your fasting, and that's what you're going to carry, and other things obviously. And that's what you're going to carry with you to Allah.
Exactly.
I say this all the time. I say it again. Islam is a blessing for life. Islam is the only religion that it shows you a way of life, how to eat, how to treat your parents, how to do good things. You know what I mean? How to make yourself a good person. And other religions such as Christianity, Sikhism, Judaism, they don't give you that aspect of life. They don't show you how to live, how to treat your parents, how to do this. And that's what I feel like Islam is so essential. Islam tells you how to read, the benefits of why to read.
Yeah.
Shows you the benefits of why you should be good to your parents. And that's what you need. People, when they look at life, they say, how does this appeal to me? A lot of people, when you want something, you want to know, how can it appeal to me?
Yeah.
How is it going to get me into a good position? How is it going to get me? That's why I feel like Islam, that's what it does good for you. It's the only religion that shows you how to live your life. And that is so key when wanting to do different things.
All right. I think that's a good time to finish the podcast, brothers. Jazakallah khair for joining us, Abdul Latif. And so check out as I said earlier, check out the Instagram and the Twitter pages at team_wahda. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts and YouTube. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.